The UAW is expanding its strike to 2 additional plants this morning. The union specifically going after Ford and General Motors, with 7,000 additional workers set to walk off the job in the next hour. Stellantis was spared this time, though, with UAW President Shawn Fain saying the carmaker has made, in his words, significant progress on key issues. 3 weeks into the strike, the economic impact is starting to ripple beyond the big three and the auto space. Let's bring in Wedbush Managing Director and Senior Equity Analyst Dan Ives with a breakdown here. Dan, I'm looking at the stock moves of the big three and not a whole lot of movement on the back of the latest announcement here. How big of a hit is this, or does this intensify in any way compared to where we've been the last 2 weeks?
Well, look, I mean, this is, if you looked up in the dictionary debacle, there'd be the UAW strike. That's what you'd see right now. And I think for the street, it's not about the next quarter or two. It's about what this does to the EV strategy. And I think this is just, it's which poison do you pick, right? Because if they accept this deal, GM Ford, I mean, I believe this would significantly impair their EV strategy for decades to come. So that's why right now they're going to continue to fight this in this cage match for UAW and Fan.
Let's look at some of the sticking points here. We start with the benefits, specifically looking at what that means from a cost perspective. We got reports yesterday that the UAW has come down from its initial request of a pay increase of more than 40%, but we're still looking at roughly 30, maybe in the high 20s, where they want it to be. What does that mean from a cost perspective of an EV to the consumer?
Yeah, because ultimately the consumer is going to have to pay this. I mean, it's going to get passed down, right? And I think if you look at the current deal, we think $3,000, $4,000 to $5,000 per vehicle. That would be the incremental cost. If you go down to call it mid-20s, that's something that's maybe digestible, where we're talking $1,000, $1,500. But look, this is the big issue here is foreign automakers and especially Tesla. I think right now Tesla is champagne on ice because this was going to be the lingering competition that's gone after Tesla. And I think the frustration is to watch someone like Mary and the team build this brick by brick for years to get to this point. Now the torpedo hits their strategy.
Do they scale back their strategy as a result? I mean, let's take that argument you just made, $1,000 additional, if the car makers are able to move things in their direction. I mean, we're still talking about cars out there like a Kia, Tesla, that already have a cost benefit because they are selling at a cheaper price point. You add in the government incentives into that. Does that prompt the big three to say, look, maybe we need to scale back our ambitions so at least from a cost perspective, we can still compete in the market?
I disagree. I mean, to that point, I know someone raised it. They have to dive into deep end of the pool on EVs. I mean, this is the future. This is when you look at how GM's built everything from Ultium and the battery technology. I mean, they've built what I view as potentially a transformative strategy in Detroit. I think Farley obviously has gotten Ford in the right direction as well. They cannot take a step back here. I mean, that's why right now this is going to be a heavyweight boxing match because they understand that is going to be the strategy. But the UAW, they're going to have to play ball in terms of some negotiation here to get a deal done. Otherwise, this is going to be a long and nasty few months.